All right, perfect. Okay, now we're going to talk about everyone's favorite, hitting. All right. I always allot pretty much the last 30 minutes, 40 minutes to hitting, okay? Because you lose everybody's attention once hitting comes around. They start talking about dandelions and girlfriends and stuff. So. All right? Tired? All right, first thing I want to talk about is the bat. These are the softball bats I'm talking about. If you are not sure and your bat has a big barrel, it is probably a baseball bat. If you look on every one of these bats, it says official softball, okay? It's the one with the skinny barrel. Doesn't really matter the size and stuff. On an athlete by athlete basis is what you need to know. And I know a lot of people are on tight budgets, but if the bat's too heavy for them, it's going to be harder on the athlete, okay? The lighter the bat, I don't want to say the better, because a bigger athlete should be able to hold a bigger bat and swing a bigger bat. But just watch them at practice. If they look like they're slow and having trouble getting to the ball, probably using too heavy of a bat, okay? But the heavier the bat, the more the power behind the hit. That will provide more distance, usually farther hits, okay? So this bat's a -10. So this is one that I would probably use. I kind of like it. It's a little smaller. It's more like a baseball bat. Some bats can be really long and big, okay? I want to talk about your hand positions on the bat, okay? Everyone has there's two sets of knuckles on your hands, okay? This is one way to have them lined up. So basically it'd be the deep knuckles lined with the front knuckles, okay? You never want to be past this point this way, okay? Because hitting is all about turning your wrist, and you can't turn your wrist from that position. So we want to be lined up here, and then maybe at a halfway point where our knuckles are lined up in the middle of the other knuckles. Does that make sense to everyone? So here or here, all right? Never overcompensated here. And you'll be able to tell if your hitters are not lined up properly because they'll look real tense upper body, because that's the only way they can get their knuckles lined up like that, all right? I look a lot looser from this position and my knuckles are lined up. So if they look really tight, it probably has to do with their knuckles or their hands being too far this way rather than this way, okay? Does that make sense, everyone? That's pretty easy, all right? If you do not have a lighter bat and your athlete's having trouble swinging, choke up on the bat, okay? Most of the time I start with an inch, which is about 2 fingers. So just an inch up, and they're starting right here, okay? That's where I would start them. You never want them too far up here, because when they swing, they'll whack themselves in the stomach, all right? So just start with an inch, okay? Most of them can hold it at the very bottom, but if they need to choke up, just about an inch, okay? I'm going to talk about hands, and then Tyler's going to talk about everything else, all right? In softball, you can have your hands many different ways, but I would always suggest them back farther away from your head, okay? Just think about this. If your buddy steals your video games or kisses your girlfriend, you're not going to punch him from right here, right? If I went up to Tyler and I punched him from right here, he'd probably laugh at me, right? If I'm going to punch him, I'm going to wind up way back here, I'm going to sock him, right? You want your hands farther back here, okay? You don't want them next to your head because you go, right? And you hit like that. You want them way back here, all right? My rule was always 2 inches up and 2 inches off their back shoulder. 2 inches up and 2 inches back. That's a good strong position, like you're going to knock it out of the park, all right? Tyler's going to go ahead and talk about the rest. So here you go, here's your bat.
First thing we'll talk about is stance. You know, say this is my plate, pretty much want your body middle of the plate, right, okay? Feet about shoulder length, maybe a little wider than shoulder length, and in a good athletic position. Some people have their stance open, some are closed off. I prefer it right square. That way if you're closed, you're already fighting, you could be hitting it the other way foul all the time. And if you're open, you're pulling off the ball and hitting it foul this way. So I prefer about shoulder length and squared up. A good athletic position, knees bent a little bit, facing straight towards the pitcher.